If you are someone who was raised to work hard, to finish what you start, and to never give up, then you probably struggle to know when to walk away. You've been praised your whole life for pushing through, even when it's killing you on the inside. I get it, because that was me too. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Julie. I help women stop carrying it all, energize their feminine vitality, and build real teamwork at home and beyond. Because it's not just about relationships, it's about reclaiming your life force. You've been taught that sticking it out is strength, that showing up no matter what makes you a good woman, a worthy one. And in many ways, that kind of persistence is a strength until it starts hurting you. If you were raised like I was, you might have been punished or shamed when you did try to stop something that didn't fit anymore. I know I was. That saying, you made your bed, now you have to lie in it, I heard that a lot. But it's wrong. You shouldn't have to spend the rest of your life paying for a mistake. As a kid, I had to finish everything I started. If I served myself too much food, I wasn't allowed to leave the table until I finished it. That taught me early on that overcommitting was my responsibility to suffer through. Later in college, I was underwater in a class I was clearly failing, but I was too scared to drop it. I knew I'd be shamed for quitting, so I stayed. That shame was louder than my own self-awareness. I later retook that class long distance just to turn that F into an A, even though the class didn't even transfer to the next college I was going to attend. And the worst part? I thought all of that was virtuous. I believed it made me strong. I thought not quitting was a moral value. And I passed that on to my kids the first half of their lives, the next half trying to undo the damage. I watched them begin to internalize the same thing, that stopping meant failing, that trying to rest or change directions meant weakness. And by the time I realized what I was modeling, I saw what I was up against. It wasn't just me, it was the whole system around them. I'll never forget walking into their middle school and seeing this quote in huge letters across the wall: "Failure is not an option." That wasn't motivation, that was indoctrination. It taught them the same thing I had to unlearn, that failure is dangerous, that quitting is shameful, that discomfort is something to endure, not something to listen to. I felt like I didn't stand a chance unless I pulled them out entirely. It took me until my 40s to start unlearning it myself. One of the most influential books I ever read was Necessary Endings by Dr. Henry Cloud. It helped me finally stop reinvesting in an on-again, off-again relationship with a man who promised marriage but never followed through. That book helped me stop trying to redeem something that kept dragging me down. And it wasn't just him. It helped me walk away from other relationships, jobs, and roles that were never going to become what I hoped. That's why I created a free discernment guide to help you tell the difference between what just needs time and what's slowly eroding you. And if you want help walking through it, I'm offering a free coaching call, just support, no pressure. Both links are in the description. Because so often we think we're being noble, but what we're really doing is abandoning ourselves. And sometimes that abandonment isn't just draining, it's dangerous. Because loyalty at all costs has a dark side. It can be used to justify abuse, especially when it's covert, when it comes in cycles, when it's wrapped in charm or followed by kindness or mixed with "I'm sorry" and "you know I love you." That's how trauma bonds are formed. Not through constant cruelty, but through confusion, through unpredictability, through the illusion of closeness followed by emotional withdrawal, blame, or punishment. And for women like us, overachievers, empaths, never quitters, we don't walk away, we double down. We try harder. We take it as a challenge to fix, heal, or prove our worth. And in doing so, we create the very cage that keeps us trapped. We override our inner guidance system. We explain away the gut feelings. We confuse chemistry with compatibility. We call it love. But it's not love, it's survival. It's a nervous system trying to make sense of mixed signals by chasing safety in the wrong direction. Loyalty without discernment becomes a trap. And the longer we stay, the harder it is to see clearly what we're actually living inside. And for many of us, that wasn't just a personal value, it was a spiritual one. My religion focused so much on eternal families and staying married at all costs that it made people feel too pressured to stay together, even when things got unbearable. We were taught to endure to the end, that all people can change, that we just needed to be a good enough example and pray. But determination can keep you stuck if it's not paired with discernment, especially if you were raised in a culture, religion, or family where divorce was shamed or loyalty was tied to your worth. Loyalty to dysfunction is not a virtue, and spiritual bypassing doesn't make a dead thing come back to life. But we were taught that loving someone harder would heal them, that sacrificing more would inspire them, that forgiveness 70 times 7 was proof of holiness. I remember reading The Giving Tree to my children and thinking it was beautiful. Only later did I realize it was a story about complete self-erasure, cutting yourself down until there's nothing left, just to keep someone else comfortable. We were told to be like that tree, to carry the weight, to make ourselves small, to stay soft, stay kind, stay open. Because hurt people, and charity meant understanding their pain while dismissing our own. But that kind of love, it doesn't build either person up. It destroys both. You can't save a drowning man by jumping into the water, but you can die trying. And many of us have been emotionally drowning for years, calling it love. That's not virtue. That's spiritual codependence. And underneath all of that was a belief system I had never questioned, that only hard work creates values, that struggle earns success, that suffering is noble. I was taught that if something came easy, it probably wasn't worth much, that good things only came to those who pushed, sacrificed, and suffered. But over time, I've learned something that changed everything. Forward movement that's actually in alignment comes with a very different kind of energy. It doesn't feel like dragging. It doesn't deplete you. It flows. Yes, relationships take effort, jobs don't run themselves, and nothing meaningful is friction-free. But when we're working with what is in alignment for us, even the challenges feel purposeful. They don't drain our soul, they grow us. If we're constantly forcing, dragging, carrying others who won't meet us, or over-functioning to keep something alive, it's worth asking, is this actually for me? Or am I just trying to prove I'm strong enough to endure it? Because success isn't built on pain alone, it's built on alignment, on finding the updraft, on moving with the current that already wants to carry you somewhere meaningful. We need to recalibrate our sense of what success feels like, because so many of us were taught it's supposed to feel heavy, hard, and earned through self-abandonment. But real success, it feels like breath, like momentum, like wholeness, not depletion. And when you start to feel what true alignment actually feels like, it gets harder to ignore what no longer fits. Sometimes what you choose was right for who you were then, and now it isn't. And that doesn't mean you failed, it means you grew. But here's the key. You have to be open to both possibilities. Maybe it can be reshaped into something new. Maybe it's time to let it go. But the only way either one can happen is by releasing the grip, letting go of the tension, letting go of the outcome. Because when you stop forcing a connection that has expired, or trying to prematurely end something that still wants to evolve, you finally make space for the truth to show up. And whatever that truth is, you'll be able to meet it with clarity, not control. When people don't keep checking in and making small adjustments to stay in the same trajectory with each other, they can grow in opposite directions. Relationships shift. Jobs that once lit you up become empty. What once made sense no longer fits. Not everything that ends is broken. Some things are just complete. Sometimes it only takes a recalibration, and sometimes it means starting completely over with clearer vision and deeper self-trust. And this doesn't just show up in relationships. It shows up in the major you chose at 18, the business you started from a version of you that no longer exists, the city you moved to with high hopes that now drains you, even the book you said you'd finish but dread picking it up. We cling to these things because we don't want to be quitters. But quitting isn't weakness. It's wisdom. There's a saying, when you realize you're on the wrong train, get off at the next stop. Because the longer you stay on the wrong train, the longer the ride back. And that ride back, that costs more than time. It costs your energy, your clarity, your ability to trust your own instincts. We've been taught to fear failure, but in truth, failure is a teacher, especially if you're paying attention. In science, the point isn't to prove a theory right, it's to try to disprove it. That's how we know what holds up. That's how truth reveals itself. Not through clinging, but through testing. And most of what I was taught growing up has been proven false. That's not a problem. That's evolution. And you're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to outgrow things. You're allowed to say, this no longer fits, and I'm allowed to leave. So if something in your life feels heavy, hard, draining, ask yourself, am I staying because it's aligned, or because I was taught to stay no matter what? Am I honoring my truth, or just trying harder because I don't know how to stop? Discernment isn't just about noticing red flags. It's about recognizing misalignment, even when nothing seems wrong. It's about giving yourself permission to pivot, release, or walk away. Not because you're giving up too soon, but because you are finally ready to stop abandoning yourself in the name of effort. When you stop riding the wrong train, you start building a life that actually fits. A life that honors the woman you are now, not the woman who thought she had to finish everything she started just to be worthy of rest, love, or peace. And when you do that, when you finally stop trying to make what's not meant for you work, you begin to feel space again. Not clarity all at once, not ease right away, but space for what's real. Space for what can actually meet you. And while this video is about what it costs to stay too long, the next one will be about what becomes possible when you finally stop. Because there is life after letting go, and not just survival, but breath, flow, alignment, ease, and even joy. But first, we have to stop abandoning ourselves in the name of loyalty to what isn't loyal to us. And if something in you knows it's time to stop pushing, time to recalibrate, time to come home to yourself, then I invite you to download the Discernment Guide. The link is in the description. And if you want someone to walk through it with you, I'm offering a free call, a space to breathe and be supported. You don't have to figure it out alone.